Hi, welcome to part 2 of the tutorial. Today we're going to be adding a ground plane as well as rocks and a background to bring it all together. So the first thing we're going to do is add a plane. So hold Shift A, go to Mesh, Plane, and hit 7 on the number pad to get a top view. And we're just going to scale it up. Zoom out a little bit and then scale it up a little bit more. Okay, and we're going to tab into Edit Mode and Subdivide. Right click, Subdivide, and then go down here, number of cuts, probably 60 will do. And then we're going to tab on out. Then we're going to add a new modifier. Go to the modifier section, add modifier, and displace. Afterwards, we're going to go down to the texture properties, click on that, hit new, texture, and then we're just going to grab under type, grab cloud, and then you're going to want to go back up to the modifier section and turn your strength down. We're going to turn it down to about 0.3 should do. All right, and right click, shade smooth. We're going to add another modifier, subdivision surface. All right, that looks good. Then you can just grab the plane and then move it up on the Z axis by hitting G and Z. So just move it up a little bit just until it hits this boot. We're going to fix the spot he's standing on so it's flat. And we are going to go down here to vertex groups and go up here to object mode and switch that to weight paint. And we're going to make a new group and we're going to call this one flat. And what we're going to do is just paint right underneath his feet, just so that it's a little bit red. And then we'll go up to weight and invert. Go back to the modifier tab. And under vertex group, under texture, click on that one and then you'll click flat. Go back up to weight paint and go to object mode. And what that'll do is that'll flatten the ground underneath them. And then you can move the ground up so that he's just standing on a flat surface. All right, next we're gonna add a rock. So hit Shift A, Mesh, Rock Generator. And if you don't have the rock generator, you can go up to Edit, Preferences, and look for Extra Objects. And that'll give you your rock generator. So I'm gonna delete my rock. I'm gonna put it Mesh, Rock Generator. And you can generate different rocks until you're happy with the way it looks. And I'm happy with the way that one looks. So I'm going to scale it down a little bit. And then I'm going to go into top view mode and just place it along right next to him. And then I'm going to rotate it and place it on the ground. And next we're going to make a bunch of rocks scattered along the ground. So click on the ground plane, go to particle properties and hit new. We're going to go to hair and go down to render as, instead of path, you're going to choose object. And then under instance object, you're going to click the eyedropper and just click on your rock. And that'll scatter the rock about. And you can change the scale right here. I'm going to scale it up a little bit, maybe 0.2. No, that's a little bit too big. So 0.1, a little bit too big. So 0.1 looks good. And then your scale randomness, I'm going to put that all the way up to 1. And you can change the number of rocks too right here. I'm going to keep mine at 1,000. Okay, next I'm going to make a weight paint so that we can scatter the rocks in locations where we want them. So I'm going to go up to object mode and switch that to weight paint. Then I'm going to come down here to object data properties and I'm going to make a new one. And I'm going to call that one rocks. And then I'm going to paint where on the ground where I want all the rocks to be. And you can just kind of scatter it, make it random. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always come back and change it. Add a little bit more weight in different areas. I'm going to go up to object mode and go back into the particle properties and scroll down under vertex groups, I'm going to change that to rocks. And what that'll do is change it so that your rocks are scattered around the weight paint. Perfect. And this rock looks a little bit too big, so I'm going to scale it down and put it on the ground. And I'm going to increase the size of the rocks on the ground. So I'm going to go back to the particle system. I'm going to increase my scale just to make them a little bigger. Then I'm going to click on Advanced. Scroll down and change and increase your randomize. And what that'll do is that'll just randomize your rocks a little bit. All right, we're going to add some new materials. So click on the rock, go down to Material Properties, click on New, and we're going to rename this one to Rocks. All right, I'm going to switch to Material Preview by holding Z and then going down to Material Preview. Then I'm going to change that base color. Then I'm going to darken it up, make it a little gray. And I'm also going to make it a little metallic. So maybe like 0.5. Then I'm going to change the color of the ground as well. So click on the ground plane, hit New, change the base color, and I'm going to make it a little blue. Then I'm going to go down to roughness and increase that to 1. All right, that looks good. I'm going to reposition my camera now. I'm going to click on my camera. Then I'm going to bring up the camera properties by hitting N on the keyboard. I'm going to go up to View and click on Camera to View. Now when you hit 0 on the number pad, you'll zoom in on the camera. And you can move around and the camera will change its position depending on how you move it. So you're just going to want to get your camera into position, whatever you think looks good. I think that looks good right there. So now I don't want my camera to move, so I'm going to remove this right here, camera to view. So now when I move, the camera will stay where I put it. All right, next we're going to add a background. So you're going to need a new add-on called Image as Plane. So look for one called image, or just type in image, and then it'll import image as plane. So click on that one, and then you can hit Shift A, go down to image and image as plane. And you're just going to bring in that background. It's called stars background, and you're going to scale it up, and then rotate it on the Z axis. And what we're trying to do is just get it aligned into camera view. Rotate it on the Z axis. There we go. Then I'm going to hit 7 on the number pad to go into top view. Zoom out and then drag it by hitting G. Put it in the background. Go back in the camera mode by hitting 0 on the number pad and then scale it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, and then we're going to change the material on the stars background. Go down to roughness, and we're going to increase that to 1, and that'll make the background black. All right, now that our scene is set up, we just have a few more properties to change on our camera. So I want you to click on your camera, make sure it's selected, and then go down to camera properties, in the little green one. Change your focal length to 24, mine's already set. And then go up to render properties. Make sure you have it on cycles and GPU compute. Then you're going to want to go down, and under color management, you'll change your look from, I think it's none, and you're going to change it to very high contrast. Just so that the blacks in your image are darker, and it'll look more like space. And once you're happy with how everything's set up, you can go ahead and render it out. Hit F12 on the keyboard to render it out. So that's how we make our astronaut in space. If you want to see more tutorials, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll have more in the future.